Okay, so let's unpack this. News just breaking today, May 8th, 2025. Europol and, well, a whole coalition of national police forces, they've just executed a major takedown, DDoS-for-Hire services. Our information for this deep dive, it's coming from a news report that just dropped detailing this whole international operation. And our mission really is to cut through the noise, understand what these attack services actually were, who was using them, and I guess what this takedown means for online security, and ultimately for you navigating the digital world day to day.
Yeah, it's pretty striking. The scale of it, first off, and just the coordination involved. You've got Europol working like hand in glove with Dutch and German police. These raids, they called it Operation Power Off.
Yeah.
It really just underscores that cybercrime doesn't care about borders, does it? You need this kind of global teamwork.
Absolutely, and it sounds like a pretty significant blow they landed. It wasn't just arrests, though there were arrests. 4 people in Poland, all quite young.
That's right, 19 to 22 years old, which is interesting in itself.
Yeah. But they also went after the infrastructure, seizing 9 web domains based
Okay.
here in the U.S.
Mm.
The report says these domains were essentially the storefronts, right? The public face, masking themselves as what? Stress testing platforms.
Yeah, that stress testing angle, it's a classic disguise. It gives this, thin veneer of legitimacy. Like maybe website owners are just testing their own defenses, but the reality, well, this operation blows that cover. These 6 specific services, CFEX API, CFEX Security, Neostress, Jetstress, QuickDown, and ZapCut, they were built and used mostly for launching DDoS attacks, distributed denial of service.
Right. Okay. So for anyone maybe not super deep in the tech side, can you break down DDoS? What does that actually do in this context?
Okay, sure. Think of it like this. Imagine a popular online shop having a huge sale. A DDoS attack is like suddenly flooding the entrance with thousands and thousands of fake shoppers, all crowding the doors at once.
Wow.
Real customers, they can't get in. The whole thing grinds to a halt. The shop might as well be closed. So, digitally, it's about overwhelming a website or a server with just tons of fake traffic, automated requests.
Gotcha.
Your legitimate users, they can't connect. The site gets knocked offline.
Right.
And these services, these for-hire ones, they basically put that power, that ability to cause digital gridlock, into almost anyone's hands.
And the report mentions for as little as 10 euros,
Mm.
someone could just punch in an IP address, pick an attack type, pay up, and boom,
Yeah.
website gone.
10 euros. It's almost disturbingly easy.
That just sounds wild.
That ease of use, that was definitely a selling point. The report talks about the slick interfaces these services had. You didn't need to be some kind of hacker genius, no
Yeah.
coding skills, nothing.
Wow.
If you knew the target's IP, their online address, and you had like a credit card or crypto,
Wow.
you were basically ready to launch an attack. It just dramatically lowered the barrier to entry for this kind of cyber disruption, which is, well, pretty concerning.
And these weren't just, flash in the pan operations either. They were active for a while, right? Between 2022 and 2025.
Few years.
And the report says they facilitated thousands of assaults. That's a huge number.
Mm.
Who were the typical targets here?
Well, the impact was incredibly wide-ranging. The report gives examples like schools, public administration offices,
Okay.
private companies, naturally, but also online games.
Online games.
Yeah.
Kicking players off.
Exactly. Think about the disruption. A school's online platform goes down during exams, or a business loses its website during peak hours. That's real financial damage. And yeah, for gamers, it just meant their games became unplayable.
Yeah.
So it hit a lot of different sectors, causing potentially serious real-world problems.
Now, the report mentioned something about how these worked technically,
Yeah.
different from older methods, like botnets. Can you simplify that a bit?
Sure. So traditional botnets, they often relied on hijacking thousands of regular people's computers, infecting them with malware.
Right, like zombie computers.
Pretty much, yeah. Controlled remotely without the owner even knowing. These newer services, though, the ones just taken down, they largely shifted away from that. They were basically renting really powerful servers, dedicated machines, specifically to launch these floods of traffic.
So more like renting heavy artillery instead of relying on a scattered militia.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it gave them more concentrated firepower, more control, and honestly, it made tracing things back a bit harder in some ways. Though, interestingly, the report does note one service, QuickDown, apparently used both dedicated servers and a botnet component, sort of a hybrid approach for maximum oomph, according to a report from last year.
So they were essentially selling attack power like a commodity.
Mm.
And those prices you mentioned.
Wow.
The report details ShootX Security having monthly plans from like $20 up to $130.
Hmm.
And QuickDown went up to nearly $400 for its top package.
Yeah, $379.
That puts launching a serious attack within reach for, well, a lot more people than you'd think. It's almost like democratizing cyber attacks, which is a really unsettling thought.
It is unsettling. That low cost, combined with the ease of use we talked about, it turned something that maybe required some real technical skill or resources into something, almost anyone with a grudge or a motive could just buy.
Yeah.
That really shifts the power dynamic online, and the sheer nerve of it. CS Security apparently marketed itself as the #1 stress testing service on its old web pages.
#1 stress testing service.
Right, hiding in plain sight or trying to under that very thin disguise.
So just to clarify, legitimate stress testing is a real thing, right? How does that differ?
Oh, absolutely. Legitimate stress testing is crucial. That's when a company or a developer hammers their own systems with simulated traffic.
Okay.
The goal is to find bottlenecks, see how much load the system can handle before a real event like a big sale happens.
Yeah.
It's about improving resilience.
So it's about consent and intent.
Exactly, consent and intent. These illegal services were all about weaponizing that traffic against someone else's site without permission, purely to cause disruption. It's the difference between, like, a controlled medical stress test and deliberately triggering a heart attack.
Yeah, okay. And it's important, as the report points out, that this Operation Power Off, this isn't the first time we're hearing about it, is it?
Yeah,
This is
no.
ongoing.
That's a key point. No, it's not isolated. Back in December 2024, the same kind of collaborative effort shut down, I think it was 27 other stressor sites.
Right, I remember that.
And there were charges filed then, too, in the Netherlands and the U.S. So this latest action, it shows a real sustained commitment from law enforcement to keep chipping away at this whole illegal ecosystem. And given the sheer volume, those thousands of assaults we mentioned, it really highlights why this focus is needed. It wasn't just a minor nuisance.
So the big picture goal here is what? Make it harder, make it more expensive to launch these attacks.
Pretty much. Raise the cost, raise the risk.
The hope being that by taking down these easy access services, arresting the operators, maybe we'll see a real drop in how often these DDoS attacks happen and maybe how bad they are.
That's definitely the objective. Disrupt the market, deter potential attackers.
But, I mean, how lasting is that effect? Won't new services just pop up to fill the void? It feels like whack-a-mole sometimes.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Yes, these takedowns are a significant disruption, no doubt. They cause chaos for the operators and their users. But the reality is the underlying demand, the motivations, the basic tech, they often persist. Law enforcement knows this. It is a bit like cat and mouse. The strategy is to make it consistently harder, riskier, and less profitable to run these things, increase the friction, make it not worth the hassle or the potential prison sentence. But yeah, ongoing vigilance is absolutely critical.
And this whole thing is happening against the backdrop of, well, lots of other cyber threats, right?
Yeah.
Our source even quickly lists other recent headlines. Things like NetXloader opens the door for a fresh Quillen ransomware surge, and an urgent Android's May 2025 security patch. It's just a reminder that the threat landscape is always moving, always evolving.
Constantly.
Does cracking down hard on DDoS-for-Hire maybe push criminals towards other things, like that ransomware mentioned? Do they just shift focus?
That's a definite possibility, yeah. Cybercriminals are, unfortunately, quite adaptable. They follow the path of least resistance or greatest profit. If launching DDoS attacks becomes significantly harder or riskier thanks to operations like Power Off, some groups might absolutely pivot. They might invest more resources into ransomware, phishing, other types of attacks that they see as, well, maybe more lucrative or having a lower chance of getting them caught right now.
Okay, so let's try and summarize them. What we've seen today, it feels like a genuine win for the good guys, right?
I think so.
International police work, taking down several major DDoS-for-Hire platforms, arrests made, servers seized. And what really stands out from our discussion is just how accessible, how cheap and easy it had become for almost anyone to launch these damaging attacks, affecting schools, businesses, games, a huge range.
Absolutely. And the core hope, the primary goal of Operation Power Off, is that by making these tools much harder to get hold of, we'll see fewer attacks disrupting everyday online life, make the internet a bit more stable, a bit more secure for everyone using it.
So here's something to maybe chew on after listening to this. Think about how the accessibility of these kinds of attack tools, which was increasing and now hopefully, fingers crossed, decreasing thanks to actions like this, how does that change what we expect from online security, both for us as individuals, but also for society. And maybe think about what other types of cyber threats might rise or fall in prominence because of these kinds of big law enforcement pushes. Definitely something to keep in mind.